Stumbling home, we don't know where we're going. Should've turned back hours ago. Out of our minds, I guess we're sleeping outside. You're still a good time, even in the cold.
Hello, welcome to Defender Adventure. We are Paul and Chrissy from the UK, and with our Land Rover Defender that we have called Sterling, we are travelling the world.
Guess we need a new plan. There's a motel a mile down the road.
We arrived at the Mexicali border crossing with medical appointment letters in our hand, and after a couple of hours were told we would not be crossing that day. We decided to try an alternative crossing location at Los Algodones, and after being pulled over by a corrupt policeman who got nothing from us but wasted 10 minutes of our time, we then arrived 10 minutes late at the border crossing, only to find it had closed at 2 p.m. We decided to go to the next border crossing about 40 minutes away at St. Luis Rio, Colorado, where we spent 3 hours queuing, having our vehicle inspected and being questioned, only to be told we would not be crossing that day. We found a hotel, booked 3 nights, and decided to make new plans. Our frustration at not getting back into the States was only made worse by the view from our hotel. Plans, we have found, are best made in a relaxed environment, and it was here, at this bar, that we met a great guy called Abraham. Abraham, his twin sisters and his friend Omar took pity on us and decided what we really needed was a night on the town. In between all the drinking, eating and singing, we did make a new plan, which was to head south to explore southern Mexico at higher elevations where we could avoid the worst of the summer heat. Our 3 nights in San Luis Rio, Colorado were soon over, and we began our journey south. The early part of the journey ran parallel with the wall until we turned south to our overnight stop in Caborca. The next day took us back close to the border as we drove to our next overnight stop in Nuevo Casas Grandes. The journey to Nuevo Casas Grandes was a demanding one as we crossed desert and mountain environments with many steep, twisty sections and poor quality road surfaces. All this combined to bring Sterling to his knees only 200 yards from our hotel. Whilst we felt very unlucky to have suffered a severe mechanical failure, we recognised how lucky we were not to have broken down earlier in the day in a much more inhospitable location. A very kind gentleman in a large pickup truck towed us the short distance to our hotel, where we would have to regroup again.
Monday the 28th of June 2021. We're in a small town. Got here on Saturday, by about 200 metres from the hotel, and Sterling made an almighty noise and we had no drive. So I will show you where he is, if I can flip. There he is, feeling sorry for himself. So that was Saturday. Paul spent most of yesterday and nearly all of today trying to sort out where we can take him. We're taking him to a town called Torreon. It's about a 9-hour drive. We've got a tow truck coming first thing in the morning, so fingers crossed he'll fit on the tow truck and we will travel on down. Unfortunately, due to storms, the tow truck was diverted to emergency rescue works, so we had to wait an extra day. We were lucky to catch just the edge of the storm. Other than the occasional trip into town for some lunch, we had a quiet couple of days waiting for the truck. It eventually arrived late Tuesday afternoon and loading was soon complete. We had planned to travel with the driver, but the truck had only one spare seat, and with a departure time of 4 p.m, a journey of at least 10 hours to Torreon, we decided to catch the overnight bus, a much more comfortable option.
It turns out the overnight bus was not such a comfortable option. However, after a sleepless night, we did arrive at the Land Rover dealer in Torreon in time to see Sterling being offloaded. The tow truck driver had to reverse in from the road, and he wasn't best pleased with the position of this tree. With Sterling safely in the workshop, we left for our hotel to catch up on some much needed sleep. We received a call the following afternoon from Land Rover to say they have found the problem. We walked a few hundred yards from our hotel to the dealer, and we were a little surprised to see the amount of standing water after heavy rain that morning. Most drivers weren't affected by the water, but this wasn't true for everyone. So we are here in the Jaguar Land Rover dealer in Torreon, and this is the culprit. This is our transfer box, and this is the part that has failed. This part here has worn. All these teeth have worn on this spline. This fits into a splined cup, which is on the output side of the gearbox. and this shaft connects the gearbox to the transfer box, and this is worn. And this is a common fault apparently with the Land Rovers, that these parts are fitted together dry. There's no oil, no grease. They can't be lubricated, and they fail. Ours has failed at 35,000 miles. We have read that some go on to do over 100,000. Others have failed after 11,000. It's not the best of designs. And we have managed to source from the UK a new part, which actually is a solid piece, and it will connect directly onto the gearbox output shaft straight into here, and it will do away with these two parts that need to run together. We've ordered that part. We were replacement parts, like for like replacement parts. Land Rover here quoted us delivery time is somewhere between 30 to 60 days. Obviously we're not keen on hanging around for that length of time, so we've ordered this new part from the UK. We've had it delivered to San Diego. It took around 3 or 4 days to get there, and we are now waiting for it to come from there to here. So hopefully in the next day or two the part should arrive and be fitted, and we can then go off and give this vehicle a test drive to check everything's working okay. And if everything is okay, then we plan the following day we will leave and continue our travels in Mexico. So when the drive from the gearbox comes through and turns this in turn turns the goes through the transfer box. This is the diff lock in here. If we're off road and we want to put diff lock on, that would lock this, and these two then wouldn't be able to turn independently. They would be locked together, and 50% of the power be transmitted to the front. This is where the prop shafts join to connect to the front and rear axles. Such a small part, but with that worn, complete loss of drive, unable to go anywhere. So hopefully when these guys here have done their works, we'll be back on the road with peace of mind. Knowing that the car would be out of action for a few days, we took the opportunity to have a brief visit to El Centro, the town centre, with a plan to have a proper look the following day. Good morning.
Good morning. Today is the 8th of July 2021. We've left the hotel and decided to explore Torreon.
Yeah, we've come downtown. We're just going to wander a few streets over and see if we can find the Telerifico, the cable car that takes us up to the top of the small hill just outside town, gives us a view back over the town. And there's also a statue of Christ up there, like a mini version of the one in Rio de Janeiro.
You don't want no love. You just tryna smoke up on that butt. Why you won't come down? Always got your head up in the clouds. Yeah, yeah. You don't want no love. You just tryna smoke up on that butt.
by the statue, but it's such a frustration here that Mexico has got such beauty, but it doesn't seem to want to show it off to the best of its ability. For example, here, just casually draped all the wires. And I'll show you the statue. And this is the main tourist attraction point. Up here is the statue, but look what right behind it. The statue at the top here is called the Cristo de las Noas. It's named after the hill Cerro de las Noas. It's relatively new. It's a bit of a mishmash. It's very hard to see what the theme is, but I think it's essentially a religious stroke tourist place to visit. How is it?
Muy bien.
Muy bien.
Sí.
And after a traditional Mexican dish for lunch, we're now having the other most Mexican dish for dessert, a Dairy Queen Blizzard. Cheers.
Cheers.
We received a message a few days later telling us that the parts had arrived at the workshop and did we want to check we had received everything we had ordered. We said we did, and we walked the few hundred yards down the road to the dealer. Look at Sterling parked beside his modern day equivalent. Don't worry, Sterling, he hasn't got a patch on you.
Hi, Bob, how are you?
Hi.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. It turned out we did have all the parts we ordered. New seals.
Yes.
and even some extra we didn't order. Another seal? we got O-rings. I don't know where these come. What are these for? Satisfied that the mechanics had everything they needed, we left them to get on with the repair work. Remove transfer box, remove the transfer then.
Okay, 16th of July, we're walking down to the Land Rover dealer to give Sterling a test drive. Hopefully all is good.
Firstly, when leaving the Land Rover dealer, you have to choose which side of the tree you're going to take. Listen for the clunk noise. Did you hear that? I thought we had suffered another shaft failure, but fortunately it hadn't been fully engaged in high gear. A quick adjustment and we were off for what turned out to be a very satisfactory test drive.
The following morning we returned to collect the vehicle. We took a dozen cream cakes and pastries to say a big thank you to all the wonderful staff who had been so kind and helpful to us, especially Susie, the general manager. In turn, they had given Sterling a much needed clean and he was looking great. They even gave me a Land Rover hat, a very special gift indeed. Okay, so we're picking up Sterling. What's the date? I don't know, it's about 16th? 17th. 17th, and collecting Sterling and driving to Zaka something. Hopefully it all goes well. Paul made a rookie error leaving the dealer. He forgot to pick which side of the tree he was taking.
Wrong side of the tree.
Oh! Oh! Don't hit it!
Back on the road.
Go on! No! No, not yet, wait. And mind, Paul, because you've got a dip there. You've got a drop. Okay, go. Get over though.
How can she still be a backseat driver when she's not even in the car?
We have now picked up Sterling and we are leaving the hotel, heading for
No, Zacatecas.
Zacatecas.
Town of Zacatecas in the state of Zacatecas.
Oops. Hold on, Paulie. Hold on. Oh! And again.
We're going to the town of Zacatecas in the state of Zacatecas. Zacatecas was around 250 miles from Torreon and was just an overnight stop on our way down to a town called Ajijic in Jalisco, just south of Guadalajara. It is from here that we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.